I had a couple of people ask what is NUANS and how you can get the report. It is something that you use when you do the registration of a federal business in Canada. So I would like to show you how it's done, and hopefully this helps out. When you have a chance, please subscribe to the channel so that it really helps. It helps the channel grow. So let's get to what NUANS is and why you would do it and why it's important. So NUANS is basically a corporate name and trademark search system that is used by the government of Canada. So every time you would like to register the federal corporation or federal business, it can be partnership, you first need to get a NUANS report. It's basically a naming report, and it tells the government that you are intending to do the registration of a business, and it also searches for similar terms, and it tells you whether you can register your company under that specific name. It also looks into trademarks. So every time you do the registration process, it asks for the NUANS report in advance. So you have to do it in advance. It's done on the website nuans.com, and it costs $13.85, and you can pay by credit card. We will also look at what other search databases you should use in order to search for similar names or trademarks. Because what basically happens is when you do the registration, you submit your registrations, and there's an agent, a government agent, who looks at all the information and compares the NUANS reports and makes a decision whether to register your company or not. And if they cannot, then they just let you know, and they tell you, oh, we need a different name for your company because there's a problem because it violates this and this trademark. When you do the NUANS report, when you submit the NUANS report to the government, when you pay the $13.85, it also makes sure that that name, specific name that you are seeking, is not available for 90 days. So no one else can do the registration of a company under that specific name. So let's just have a look how to do the NUANS report and what are the good ways of doing this. So you need to go to the nuans.com, and this is what the website looks like. And you basically, if you scroll down, there's a button to order NUANS report. So just click on it. And there are 5 steps here. So you need to propose your name, and then give more details, your email address, and make a payment. When you make the payment, you will receive an email with the NUANS report right away as a PDF file, and I'll show you what it looks like. So if you scroll down, it asks for a proposed name of a corporation, and you should not be included these terms INC, Corp, LTD. These are legal elements of each corporation, but they cannot be in the NUANS report. You will be submitting these once you are doing the actual registration of your corporation. So let's just say your proposed name would be something like AJ's Construction. So if you click next, you get a warning because it's very common name. So it gives you warning that that specific name already exists. So if you just scroll down, there's a AJ's Construction in Ontario under this specific business registration number. There's a whole bunch of AJ's Constructions, and they actually allowed them to be registered, and they're all active. So you cannot do that. So if you just go back, you have to think of a different name. That is not so generic. So let's just look at this. I will show you. I have a company called CT Instruments. So this would, if I just submitted this, it would just tell you that it already exists. So let's just do this. Let's add one more character there. So if you press OK, it tells you it doesn't exist, but there may be similar names. There may be trademarks and other things. So You can continue, but it also tells you that there might be something similar. So if you click next, it asks you, it usually asks you that you should confirm your distinguishing name. So that will be the CT instruments number 2. And oftentimes with these namings, it's a good idea to also have a second portion of the name. So something like here is an example, something like hairdressing or holdings or construction, so that it's more distinct. But even this is just good enough. But it's a good idea to have two terms in your name. So what you need to do now is to confirm which is the distinct term in your corporation name. So in our case, it would be CT Instruments 2. So you have to click it, and then you just write whatever describes your activity. So I don't know, we can just do like instruments, and it asks, so let's just say musical instruments. If you had a construction, you just put in construction, and there's a category for that. So just click next, and then it just tells you that you should have your credit card, or you can do Interact online, and you basically just pay for it. You just confirm that your corporate name is CT Instruments 2. Make sure there's no term like LTD INC included. It cannot be there. That you're doing a federal incorporation, and then this is the term that is distinctive, and this is under what category it is. So you just proceed to the payment, and you just get it by email. So you just confirm what your email address is. So I'm not going to go into that. I'll show you what the actual NUANS report looks like. I am going to, but before I do that, I'll just rewind a little bit here. So when he told you that there's a possibility that there's something similar, what I suggest is to do two searches. One is in the federal corporation search, and one is the trademark search. So if you just go to Google and just look up Federal Corporation Search Canada, it's going to lead you to this website where you can look up federal corporation. So if you are trying to find whether there's something similar that already exists or exact federally, you just look it up. So if I go here and click search, it tells me the company exists, it's active, and these are the numbers, the business number and corporation number for it. So if you do this search, federal search, you pretty much assume that this name already exists, so you need to come up with something different. Another search database that I suggest you should look into is the Trademarks Database, because that's considered as well in the NUANS report. So all you need to do is type into Google Canadian Trademark Search, and it gives you this government website where you can look at the trademarks. So you can just put in your search criteria, the term of your company. Let's just do this and click search. And it tells you there's no data available. So there are no trademarks attached to this specific term. So you are free to use it. So these are the two things that I would do before I actually go into ordering the NUANS report. But if you go through the NUANS report, the entire process, you get a NUANS report in your email and after you pay. So this is what it looks like. So this would be your term, distinctive term. This would be the number of the NUANS. So when you do the corporation registration, during the process actually for the NUANS number, and this basically is already in the system of the government, so they just look it up and they see exactly the same thing as you do here. So first few pages are variants of what's already registered or it was already registered. So there's CT instrument was proposed, in Canada. And also I proposed before that, 3 days before, and it was actually an issue. I proposed with the LTD term that's not allowed. So basically I had to go back and submit a new NUANS report and pay $13.80 again, because the officer from the government told me, you cannot do this. So they show up both on the term, because this is not allowed to be used for 90 days. And if you scroll down, there's a whole bunch of similar terms. So there's Instrumart, AD instruments, and it tells you if it's a partnership, if they're active or not. So the government officer, when the person does the registration for you, they just look at this report and say, oh, there's nothing very similar. So they allow your corporation to be registered under that specific distinct name. Last 2 pages or so usually are, let me just scroll down, is a trademark report. So that's part of the NUANS. And they basically also see the same thing. They see if there are any similar trademarks registered. So there's a term instruments that is registered by Apple since 2009 in Canada under the category of computer software. So if your name was only instruments, then they would not allow it, because it would be in violation of this trademark. So they wouldn't allow your corporation to be registered with that specific name. So this is pretty much all in terms of NUANS. If you have any questions, just let me know. If you have any questions about other processes in terms of registration of business or accounting or taxes, just let me know in the comment section and I'll try to cover it. One last thing that I didn't mention is that this specific process is related to registering federal business or corporation in Canada. If you are registering a provincial corporation within your province, then most of them aren't done online, and there aren't really specific databases. So you may want to just do a quick search in Google if a company that is very similar in name exists in your city or in your province. And typically you need to do the provincial registration of a company in a provincial registry. So you would just go there in person and you would tell them what the name is, and they would just look it up. They have their own databases, and they would tell you, oh, you cannot use this because it is similar to other company already existing in this province.